Call the meeting to order. Do we have any announcements?
So Peggy, I do have one announcement. This is Rodney. I wanted to let you all know that it's Sylvia's birthday today.
Oh,
Why did you let us know today? You should let us know earlier in the week so we could have got her a cake.
Got quite a bit of cake today.
Yeah, we got her quite a bit today. So
Could have had Elvis sing to her.
Yeah.
happy birthday, Sylvia.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, we have the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. This is Brett.
I'll second. It's Adam.
Adam, I just see the top of your head.
Fix that.
Okay, it's been moved by Brett and seconded by Adam to accept the minutes as presented. All those in favor, Steve,
Hey.
Michelle,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
and Ron.
thank you. So they've proposed that agreement, and then also a list of land uses that would be permitted, and they would exclude some of the most heavy industrial. There are a few industrial uses that are on our light industrial list that were still considered a little more heavy industrial with a conditional use permit. So they've recommended that we look through those land uses and come up with a list of land uses that would be appropriate for, next to residential subdivision, that Northside Estates subdivision. So right next to that subdivision, within 300 feet, we've proposed some land uses that would limit the number of land uses permitted there. And then a couple of conditional use permits for that area. And then the rest of the area was left according to the zoning requirements and the permitted uses that are for that specific zone. So we've drafted the development agreement. We've sent it out to all the property owners. We have 5 responses back. We need 2 more property owners to sign the agreement and send it back. But if we don't get those, they're only 14 acres, and we'll probably proceed without them if they're not willing or able to sign them in a timely manner. So we anticipate that being done this next week and going before City Council for approval. So that was the primary thing that we probably should report on.
Thank you. All right, we have no business items, and we got less than a minute until public hearings. Okay, I have 7 o'clock, so public hearing item number 1. Do we have an applicant?
Yep. Go cold right now. Matt Schultz, 8421 South 10 Mile Road, here on behalf of Brant Agency.
Don Brandt called me last winter and asked me if I'd help him with a piece of property zone since the late 70s, actually, which is kind of unique on the southeast corner of Greenhurst and Middleton Road. We looked at it, and I told him I'd do a layout on it, what I thought would be the best mix of lots to maximize the value to a small builder team of, say, 3 or 4 builders, maximize our efficiency as well as kind of ride that fine line of lot size and everything else. And it met your RS7 zoning, where we have basically a mix of 60 and mostly 70 plus wide lots, 110, 120 feet deep. We have 20% under 7,000, we have 36% over 9,000, and the rest in between. It conforms to the comprehensive plan, and it fits there's some RX6 zoning to the east of us, the Summit Ridge project under construction right now that M3 is doing, and across the street RS7. So we kind of blend in that regard. We're excited about the location. We're excited about doing a good project and doing some property that Mr. Brandt's owned for, geez, how many years is that? Over 40 years. So it's pretty straightforward in that we're not asking for any variances. We've got a couple of loops and just a couple emergency accesses, one to the west of Middleton Road and one to the east into that Summit Ridge project. A little surprised they didn't have a stub street for us to connect to the east, but they did have an emergency access in that corner. So when we go out to the east, they provided one coming from another direction, then going north up to Greenhurst. So there is another emergency access between Greenhurst and also within their subdivision. So fire department signed off on that. They like our access. Our traffic study was reviewed and approved by the city. And we do need to do a turn lane at our entrance. Of course, we pay all impact fees, and so the city will decide when they want to upgrade off-site intersections and widen some roads, but we're providing all the right-of-way that's necessary for that. So we do have a staff report. We have read it. We do agree with all the conditions of approval. We think it's a pretty clean site that fits in, and we're excited to do it, and I'll stand for any questions.
Yeah, I've got a question. That rectangle piece there on the corner, is that part of this project, or is that a green space, open space, or?
Commissioner Kirkland. In the northwest east corner there.
Yeah.
That's owned by Mr. Steve Cran Jr. I don't know if it's a junior or not, but my age, lives there, and we met on site, and it's not part of this. We did work out a deal where we promised him some single-story homes up against those lots that abut his house there, because he has an older home there that's pretty close. And I thought, most people build single-story homes anyways, but we promised him that we would do single-story there. And worked out an issue where we're actually going to give him that. We've got 30 feet of essentially ditch right away that he would rather take care of on his side of the fence than our HOA take care of. And I said, hey, that's great. If you want it to keep it, because it'd be on his side of the fence, that we will do that with our final plats. And he was happy with that. He couldn't be here tonight, but he said he'd come to city council and kind of get on the record that we talked, and everything sounds good to him. So it's always good to talk to your neighbors before the hearings, I found in my experience. So that's what that piece is, that we provided a stub street, provided utilities to it. I don't know how or if it would ever redevelop, but we have provided everything we can to it. So.
And any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. We may have some questions later. All right, Christy.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Christy Watkins. I'm the Principal Planner for the City of Nampa. The request before you this evening is recommendation to City Council for the annexation and zoning to RS7 of the property located on the southeast corner of South Middleton Road and West Greenhurst Road, and for approval of the preliminary plat for the Heron Ridge subdivision on the same property. See if I can get this thing to move. Okay, hold on a second. Let me reshare it. Doesn't want to work for me. There we go. Okay. So this property is currently outside the city limits in Canyon County, but is contiguous to the city limits on the north and east sides. It's bordered on the south and west sides by Canyon County residential properties. The uses in the area currently are single-family residential, both in the city and in the county, and the Red Hawk Golf Course to the northwest. This property is eligible for annexation since it is adjacent to the Nampa city limits, and the proposed zoning and development plan conforms to the guidelines set forth in the Nampa comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan future land use designation is medium density residential, which calls for development of 2.5 to 8 units per acre. This project proposes 3.08 dwelling units per acre. A number of housing types are encouraged in this designation, like detached residences, single-family residences, and that is the housing type that is being proposed here. The preliminary plat proposes 120 buildable lots and 12 common lots on 39.29 acres. This property will take access from West Greenhurst Road with emergency access in common lots 18 and 80. Lot 18 connects to South Middleton Road, and Lot 80 connects into the Summit Ridge subdivision. The proposed subdivision is slated for development in conjunction with RS7 zoning. This requires that all standard building lots meet or exceed 7,000 square feet in area. The smallest proposed infill buildable lot is proposed at 6,325 square feet, and the smallest standard lot is 7,012 square feet. This project is designed with a total of 133 lots that include 6 common area lots, 6 access lots, 24 infill lots, and 97 standard-sized buildable lots. When we use infill lots in a development, we are required to have an average lot size of 8,000 square feet. The average lot size in this project is calculated out to be 8,687 square feet. Also, all master lots demonstrate the required lot width and depth. Therefore, the project is deemed compliant in these regards. Lot compatibility does not apply in this case because the surrounding lots are either already city platted lots or are large unplatted county lots that are still available for possible future development. Engineering will require right-of-way to be dedicated on both Middleton and Greenhurst roads. The landscape plan has been approved by city staff. The city of Nampa aligned the new bicycle and pedestrian master plan with the Lake Lowell access plan, and it has been implementing the requirement for 10-foot sidewalks as a side path or multi-use pathway facility, creating future access to Lake Lowell and other parts of the city for cyclists and pedestrians. This 10-foot sidewalk will be required on the frontages of Middleton Road and Greenhurst Road. The property is located within the Nampa School District boundaries for Lake Ridge Elementary, South Middle School, and Skyview High School. None of these schools are within walking distance. We received public input from a Lois Troyer, whose questions have mostly been addressed by the applicant tonight. I think there's a couple that maybe weren't, and we can go over those if you want those on the record. We received comment from the Parks Department regarding the 10-foot sidewalks, from the Building Department regarding the standard Title IV requirements, the Nampa Highway District stating that work is being done on Middleton Road and there will be a no-cut moratorium there when the work is complete. We heard from GIS regarding street names, but that has been addressed with the revised plat. We heard from the Nampa School District indicating that open enrollment is available in that district to distribute capacity, since Lake Ridge is almost at capacity. And we heard from the Fire Department and the Engineering Department outlining their standard design requirements. There was a letter from the Boise Project Board of Controls received last Friday after the staff report had already been sent to you regarding the easements around the Thacker lateral. That letter was sent on to the applicant, and they have indicated that they are already working with them to ensure that they get to review those plans as well. So the conditions of approval are listed in your staff report, and they include the same items as previously stated with the correspondence that was received. Oh, not advancing again. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so given the analysis noted, the annexation and zoning to RS7 is certainly an entertainable request. The staff supports a recommendation of approval of this annexation and zoning to City Council and an approval decision of the preliminary plat for Heron Ridge subdivision with all conditions as listed in your staff report. I will stand for any questions.
Any questions for Christie?
Yes. Steve,
Go ahead.
the park,
Is that going to be with those items that are highlighted in the packet, or that just could be a proposed park with anything could go in there?
The park?
yes,
Are you referring to this?
yes.
The playground.
Yeah, I don't know if that's much of a park.
Oh, the playground equipment that was shown in the packet,
Yeah,
that is the playground that will be put in that center common area on lot 12.
well, where it says park. Maybe it say park on yours, but it says park on mine.
Okay. So yeah, right there in the center, the land or the playground equipment that was shown in the staff report is what will be put into that area.
Just want to make sure it wasn't just a pretty photograph that it's actually going to go in.
Okay. Ronnie, do we have anybody there that wants to testify on hearing item number 1? Because there's none on the PDF.
Let me check the schedule. Give me just a second. That's for, I have one for the conditional use permit, and that is it.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to close public hearing, unless you guys have questions still for the applicant to come back up.
He's coming back up to address the park issue, or?
Thanks, Commissioner Kehoe. Yeah, we've got that all bid out and planned out to.
The actual structure that we're going to put in there.
Okay.
So
So is it a park or a playground?
it's a playground in a small open area. But you know, it's a park's a term that I guess we'll use as a central open area that we're going to put it in there, the playground in there.
Let me ask another question. There's one of those little pocket parks where I live, and they have the equipment just like you're talking about, but they also have some benches around there so mom and dad can sit down and watch the kids. Will you have that also?
Yeah, absolutely. And every single one of these playgrounds, we usually put in a couple benches and a trash can there around them, around that circle there. And that's just what we do on all of our playgrounds.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Thanks.
I would entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is that Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, so Brett motioned and Tom seconded to close public hearing. All those in favor, Steve,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. What do you guys want to do?
Yeah.
Madam Chairman, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we recommend for approval the annexation and zoning to RS7 and subdivision plat preliminary approval for Heron Ridge subdivision at 0 West Greenhurst Road for Schultz Development with all conditions of staff.
Okay,
Second, this Ron.
okay. Motioned by Brett and seconded by Ron. All those in favor, Steve,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Okay, that's going on to council's recommendation, and we have a part 2, the plat approval.
Did I need to do them separate? I kind of did them together, but
You did put them together.
They're done together. I didn't hear the plat part, but do we need to have it 2 things, or is it okay how we did it, Rodney?
Yeah, we need to.
I think we just did the annexation and zoning.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mentioned the other part too. Anyway,
So we need to do the plat approval.
okay, I'll go ahead and do it. Madam Chair, I'll make the motion that we approve the preliminary plat for Heron Ridge subdivision at 0 Greenhurst Road for Schultz Development.
I'll second this, Ron.
Okay, motion by Brett, seconded by Ron. All those in favor, Steve,
aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
Okay, that's, plat has been approved. Okay, public hearing item number 2. Annexation and zoning for 4-plex. Do we have the applicant?
Yes, the applicant is present.
Okay, give us your name and address for the record and tell us what you want to do.
My name's Kurt Smith. I work at 2587 Southside Boulevard, Melba, Idaho. The project we're bringing before you today is approximately 3.36 acres. It's on the corner of Midland Boulevard and Maryland Avenue. It's currently in the county in zone R1, single-family residential. We are looking for approval for annexation and zoning of the project tonight. The zoning we're asking for is RD, 2-family duplex residential. With the size requirements of the zoning, that would allow us to put 8 4-plex units on the development. As we looked at the comprehensive plan, it's slated for medium density residential, and we do meet those requirements. To the north of us, there is a development that's zoned RS4. To the west of us, there's 2 developments zoned RS6 and RS7. The property to the south and east of us is still in the county and is zoned rural residential or R1. We've reviewed the staff report, looked at the conditions and of approval and the other letters by the other agencies. We don't have any concerns with anything that was brought up there, and would be happy to comply with all those requirements. With that, I would like to stand for any questions.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, we may ask questions when we're done hearing from staff and public hearing. All right, who is up on this one?
That's me, Madam Chair. This is Rodney Ashby.
Okay.
And you should be able to see my screen. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So again, the request before you tonight is annexation and zoning to RD for 4-plex multifamily developments at 2000 South Midland Boulevard. And this is, of course, for Kurt Smith. He mentioned some of the land use in the area and that it was compliant with the comprehensive plan, and that is absolutely true. The proposal in your packet is for 8 4-plex buildings totaling 32 dwelling units on a 3.36 acre parcel. The comp plan is medium density residential, which would allow for the requested zoning of RD or duplex residential. The surrounding land uses are, I forgot to go through the zoning, sorry about that. There's the zoning map. You can see there's some enclave properties in the area still. There are quite a bit of residential surrounding it. But to the north is West Maryland Avenue, is RS 8.5. There's also an enclave rural residential lot of R1 county designation. To the south is an enclave rural residential R1 property. To the east is an enclave rural residential R1 property in the county still. And to the west is Midland Boulevard, zoned RS6. And then Sands Point number 2, single family residential subdivision, zoned RS7. Here's a quick aerial of the area. And was mentioned, it's just to the south of Maryland Avenue. There are utilities available in Midland Boulevard, and access would be from Maryland, is currently from West Maryland Avenue and Midland Boulevard. The details of how that would be worked out for access would need to be coordinated with our engineering division at the time of development and planning. So we did have some correspondence. The first one is from the fire department. Those conditions are in your staff report. I'm not going to go through everything there, but basically this is just beyond the reach of the 1.5 mile goal. The fire department likes to have properties within 1.5 miles so that they can reach them in the allotted time. And I think this one was like, oh yeah, the goal is to have to be able to reach properties within 5 minutes, and they were just 5 minutes and 20 seconds for this property. So not a lot of distance beyond the goal, but there is some distance. So the Nampa Engineering Division, there is dedication of right-of-way that's needed, a chamfer at the corner of Midland and Maryland, and then a lot of the typical requirements that we get for annexations. Happy to go through any of those, and I believe engineering's online as well. Daniel's online, so if you have any questions there, we can address them.
Okay.
Applicable regulations are that this is an Idaho State Code, Title 50, that in order for a property to be annexed as a Category A annexation, it has to have the consent of the property owners being annexed, has to be contiguous with the city limits or be enclaved by other properties so annexed. And the zoning must be consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan and future land use map. All three of those conditions are in place in this situation.
Okay.
So these are the staff recommended findings. And I can go through those if you want, but I'm going to keep moving.
Okay.
And just wanted to address some typical concerns we get for multifamily residential development, traffic, privacy, the area density, perceptions of crime. These are, we hear this a lot every time there's multifamily development, and happy to address any of these, and maybe some of the, if you have concerns, the applicant can address any of these questions as well. But generally, I find that this is compliant with our comprehensive plan, our zoning standards, and it seems to be, in general, it seems to be a good fit for the area. Here are the conditions of approval that are in your packet, and then a potential motion, and I stand for questions.
Anybody have any questions for Rodney?
Yeah, Rodney, this is Jeff. I can't keep up with the roundabouts in this city and the proposed roundabouts. Is there one proposed at Greenhurst and Midland?
I defer to engineering on that.
Yeah, there is a plan for a roundabout at that location. Not under design currently. It's farther out in the plans for that location.
Let's give you that. Daniel, this is Steve. You're saying on Maryland, they're going to put a roundabout? It's kind of like in the middle.
No, Greenhurst.
No.
Oh, Greenhurst Midland. Oh.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Brett. Is this a section on Midland where they're going to require 10-foot sidewalks? I didn't see anything on that, and I think it was something we looked at a few weeks ago that was just, I guess, towards town. It'd be to the north that we were requiring 10-foot sidewalks.
I don't see that in the conditions. We will certainly review that with the master plans, and if that's needed, we'll do that. I don't see it in the memo conditions currently, but if it's in the policy, that will, it fits within the right of way, and we'll have that done.
Yeah, I don't think this is the area that the engineering has identified for the 10-foot sidewalks.
Any other questions? Okay, I have nobody on the PDF signing up for this one. No. Okay. Anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Chair?
Yes.
This is Rodney again. Christy just mentioned that just to the north, Anchor Point, they did require a 10-foot sidewalks. So I guess I got to step back on what I said. This may be that location where 10-foot sidewalks would be required. Christy just mentioned that just to the north, got an echo when somebody required a 10-foot sidewalk. So I guess I got to step back on what I said. So phone number 208-284-0743. I just muted you, and you're going to need to, if you're going to be on the phone, you also need to mute the speakers on your computer, or else we'll get an echo.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
The speakers on your computer, or else we'll get an echo. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Brett, second by Adam. All those in favor to close public hearing? Steve?
Aye.
Michelle?
I've got it closed.
Rodney, was that something that,
That was still that same number. I'm not sure who that is. 284.
I'm not interested in the one that's going on now. I'm for the next one, but I don't know how to operate this equipment.
Okay, so when it's time to speak, did you sign up your name to speak online? I believe you did. So when it's time to speak, you just need to hit *6 when we call your name.
Okay, should I have *6 on now so it doesn't come over, or what?
I'll mute you, and then once we call your name, you can hit *6 and you'll be able to speak again.
Okay.
Thanks.
okay, I had Steve and Michelle. Adam?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Rodney, can you put the motion back up on the screen, pretty please?
You
In
bet.
case somebody wants it. Can't get much easier than that if you guys agree.
Madam Chair, this is Jeff. I'll make a motion that we recommend City Council annexation and zoning to RD for fourplex multifamily development at 2000 South Midland Boulevard for Kurt Smith with all conditions of staff to include finding out whether a 10-foot sidewalk is indeed necessary at that location.
Second, Steve.
Okay, motion by Jeff, second by Steve. All those in favor, Steve,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
Okay. On to public hearing number 3. Conditional use permit for a duplex for Jerry or May Weisnor. Do we have the applicant?
He's here.
Okay. Give us your name and address for the record and tell us what you're wanting to do.
This is Jerry Visner, and I reside at 624 7th Avenue North. And we're here before the commissioners to get a conditional use permit for the back of my property, which has been legally subdivided already. And actually, once before, I've applied and received a conditional use permit on March 2018. However, we timed out on it. Due to some health issues, we couldn't get to the project.
Okay. So you're just wanting to build a duplex in the back, or?
Yes, that's correct. Well, it'd be duplex or townhomes, condos, whatever you want to qualify it as. Pretty simple project, but we're prepared to move ahead with it this time. And last time we had unforeseen circumstances.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hear from city staff and we'll see if we have any questions for you when we get done with the public hearing.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have a question for the applicant.
Okay.
You didn't ask us, I don't think.
Sorry.
That's okay. Did you see the comments about paving the road?
Yes, there was 3 comments made. All 3 basically were talking about traffic. Now, one of the comments was made by Mr. Fraser. He lives next door. That used to be a drug house, and traffic was horrendous. I know because I lived right next to it for 3 years. That person has been convicted and has vacated the residency. During that time that I lived there, the traffic was truly terrible. It was day and night people coming over to that drug house. So it's one of the best things that's happened to the whole community there is getting rid of that, drug environment. And so now, actually, the traffic is literally a fraction of what it used to be.
So you're saying that you're not wanting to put in the concrete or asphalt or a hard surface road?
Well, no, well, it's going to be accessed through the alley, addressed through the alley, and...
I'm going to ask staff whether they are planning on doing something, but I was asking about your...
At this point, no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And we have Doug.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, Commissioners. Doug Critchfield, Principal Planner. So some general information about this site. Excuse me. This is in a medium density residential in the comprehensive plan. It's zoned in RS6, single family residential, and it's surrounded by RS6 properties. This property does not have an address. It's a flag lot behind 634, I believe, 7th Avenue North. It's 0.22 acres, 9,583 square feet. In our city code, only the flag part of the flag lot is considered to be buildable, and that area is 8,050 square feet. There are public utilities that service the site and actually run through the flagpole and part of the flag lot, the water and the pressurized irrigation and the water main, and then sewage is available out on 7th Avenue North. All public services are available to this site. Excuse me. The environmental, the proposed duplex will be located on a city lot, and this is a residential area, and it is not located in a floodplain. The paved parking for 2 vehicles per dwelling unit will need to be provided on each of the each side of the duplex, so a total of 4 additional off-street parking spaces. There is no additional parking that's required on the site. Transportation, the property has frontage on both 7th Avenue North as well as Hubbard Avenue. 7th Avenue North is paved and Hubbard Avenue is not. This is a photograph taken today of the property, the flagpole part of the property, and 624 7th Avenue North is to the right. So this would be, if they decided to come in off of 7th Avenue North, this would be the entrance point right here. This is the photograph of the property from Hubbard Avenue behind 624. And to the left, you can see where the duplexes or townhome is proposed to be located. The applicant submitted a rendering of what the potential of this structure could look like. This is a proposed IndyDwell structure, which are container units that are turned into homes, if you will. And there's a site here in Caldwell that manufactures those types of units. It is considered, it does follow the same standards as a stick-built home. Would have to have a stem wall foundation with a crawl space underneath with utilities, and then they add to those units and make it look like a regular home, and it functions both inside and outside like a regular stick-built structure. Here's a picture of the proposed location of the townhome or duplex on the site. And then here's a graphic of the what it would look like all put together, the plan view of the duplex.
What is the white rectangle just in front of the duplexes?
The white rectangle, I don't know what that is. We might have to ask the applicant what that is. I'm not certain. Okay. When we took a picture of the site earlier today, or when we looked at the site, we took it from 7th Avenue North, and so we'd have to look at Hubble, or we'd have to ask the applicant. In terms of the the regulations, Title 10, Chapter 3, Chapter 8 regulate what types of units can be located in a single-family residential district or zone. Chapter 8 in particular sets the criteria for a 2-unit single-family attached zero-lot line dwelling. And then Chapter 25 sets forth the criteria for approval. And those codes are listed in your staff report. The correspondence that we've received so far from the different agencies, there were generally no objections, no comments, with the exception of the building department, which requires that development be subject to the requirements of Title IV building regulations. We did receive some comments from local area residents, 2 emails and a letter of opposition. All citing concerns, as you mentioned earlier, with the applicant, citing concerns about parking issues on 7th Avenue North. Also, children's safety, construction noise, and access to Hubbard Avenue. There were some concerns about that Hubbard, if it's not paved, what's going to happen with that street. But one of the letters said that Hubbard is leveled out every couple of years, but then it becomes a little bit difficult to pass through with potholes and so forth. And then there was some concern about parking congestion. There was also some questions that were submitted in the packet on page 20 of the staff report that could be asked to the applicant as well as to the engineering department. That's primarily to do with paving and also with the access. How will this will be accessed? So in the staff analysis, from a land use standpoint, it does meet the conditions of the RS6 zone. The lot is large enough to accommodate a duplex. And so therefore it's eligible in size and scope. And with regards to the conditional use permit, the location of a duplex structure on this lot is an appropriate land use and it's an appropriate location should the Planning and Zoning Commission decide to proceed. Of course, all this would be under the stated conditions of approval. The conditions of approval are listed in your staff report, largely engineering division requirements, and the conditional use permit is only granted to the owner of the property and is not transferable, and a building permit must be obtained within 6 months from the official date of issuance of the CUP. If not, then the CUP becomes null and void. And then, of course, any other conditions are recommended by the commission following the public hearing. So with that, the motion stands, and I'll be glad to take any questions.
Go ahead, Steve.
So you're telling us that engineering will answer the question about paving, and you're not answering it, or you don't know the answer?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Kehoe, I don't know the answer. The engineering division handles the roadways, so.
Okay. Comments?
Any other questions for staff?
No, could we get the question answered from engineering on Daniel there?
Daniel.
Yep. Chairwoman and Commissioner Kehoe, Hubbard is not a street. It is a named alley and is named strictly for the purpose of addressing, because the Phyllis Canal runs where 8th Avenue would be. And so those properties on the other side of the alley use Hubbard as their actual access into their properties, since 8th Avenue is taken up by the Phyllis Canal. Alleys are not generally paved, nor would the city's requirements require this to be paved. If residents along there are desirous for that, they could come talk to us and we could work through the process with them. Generally speaking, the way those alleys get paved are if a commercial business were to go in there, the codes would require paving of that. For a residential use such as this, it's not required. The only way that I've seen that happen in the past would be if all of the residents along there want to do that, we can work at a local improvement district where the city does that and the property owners are assessed their proportionate share of the cost. I will say paving alleys is a difficult proposition, especially looking at what is there now, due to the proximity of existing buildings to that alley. And once it's paved, the need to propagate the drainage through there, we often have to adjust the grade of the alley, which can be problematic with adjacent garages to still allow access to them.
So for future edification, I'm looking at the staff report, and this is Hubbard Avenue, but it's not really an avenue, it's Hubbard Alley.
Let me, if I can share my screen, I'll show you an up-to-date aerial photo of the property. So as you can see, 7th Avenue is located here. The Phyllis Canal comes down, cuts through what would have been 8th Avenue back in when this was originally developed. Hubbard is the alley right here.
Daniel, we can't see your pointer.
Well, that's not fair. I've shared it.
I can see it.
It's moving now. I can see
Okay.
it.
All right, so 7th Avenue would be here.
Okay, all right.
The alley, which is Hubbard, is here.
Uh,
All right, so thanks.
Any other questions?
I have a question for the applicant. This is Jeff. If with staff.
So you may, Madam Chair,
Yes.
you may want to get public testimony first.
Okay.
And then have the applicant come up at the last for questions.
So wait.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jerry. Okay, public hearing. Let's go to the sign-up sheet. I have 3 people, Lucille Wood, Wayne Wood, and Michael Wood. So I guess we will start with Lucille.
They're wanting to talk to you, dear. *6.
We can hear you.
We can hear you right now.
Evidently they can.
On it.
Huh?
Your voice comes across from here.
This is Wayne Wood. I'll go get the wife on this line. It might be easier.
Thank you, Wayne.
It's on the
Hi.
speakerphone.
My name is Lucille Wood,
And give us your address, please.
703 7th Avenue North.
Okay, and tell us what you think about this proposal.
I don't like it.
Okay, why?
I have lived here since 1991, and we are just kittywampus from where this guy is building. He's built the one duplex, top and bottom, and now he's putting in another one. And we've got kids all over up and down the street right now, little kids. And we put any more people up and down that put another duplex in, and we're going to have more kids. We are on a dead-end street. It's a circle at the bottom of it. And kids are known for bringing their bicycles and coming down here with their mothers and riding in the circle. And there's a lot of traffic here. People come down, they come in with their big trucks, realize they can't turn around, and they play havoc trying to turn around to get back out again. It's a circle. And all of the cars in here. We've had to move our cars to the back of our place because there's no room to park out on the front anymore. I'm disabled, so my care providers are now parking in the back part of the time because there's always people in the front who live across the street, but their cars are always parked in front of our house.
Okay, so you're concerned about traffic and safety for the kids?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we got you on the record. We'll talk to Wayne now.
This is Wayne Wood. I live at 703 7th Avenue North. My wife told you when we moved here about, 25 to 27 years ago. We have seen several people move in across the street, and we've had some problems. But right now, our problem is the amount of people we have here right now have the amount of cars they have for 7th Street is just about all it can handle. And if with that modular type home they're putting on the back of there, that I don't think is right. This is supposed to be single family homes, and this is going to cause a problem because if they don't use the back road to go in and out, then they're going to come out on 7th Street, and that makes, we're just getting congested in here. And congestion to me wasn't why I moved here in the first place. We've got 2.5 acres here, or right about, and we got a little farm here that was grandfathered in. I don't understand why somebody that doesn't actually live here or won't be living here wants to keep crowding this out.
Okay. Well, we've got your concerns on the record, and we'll talk to the applicant when we get done with public hearing, and maybe he can address some of that. Okay,
the one thing I wrote the letter in on was, I think and he answered the planning and zoning guy that talked a minute ago. He answered my question about and that's why we got it, whether we didn't let them build back there before, is because if they use that alley as a get in and out, the traffic in there at the time of day when they get ready to go to work in that, they can't get in and out. It's just jammed up real bad. And so they gonna have to make a way to come out on 7th Avenue. If they make a way to come out on 7th Avenue and it's open to the alley also, people off the alley is going to be coming out on 7th Avenue.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what we can find out for you.
Thank you very much.
All right. And then we have Michael. Is he there as well?
Nope.
Do we have Michael Wood?
Hi, this is Mike. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Give us your address for the record, please.
Well, I'm actually in Washington, D.C., so I'm just going to defer to my parents, who are actually at the property.
Okay.
But thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, that's the only people I have that were on the sign-up sheet opposed, and there's nobody else that have showed up in person, Rodney, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, let's have Mr. Visnor come up there and we'll get some questions answered. Jeff, you had a question before?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify some, the parking and the egress and entrance. So is that going to be off of 7th Avenue North, or those duplexes, will it be accessed from the alley, or both? I just want to clarify that, and I think that's what Mr. Wood was also kind of wondering, because his concern is 7th Avenue North, it seems like.
Yeah, both the entrance and egress at exiting will be from both streets. Okay. I'm going to provide access to both streets. I would like to address the traffic concern. Like I mentioned before, it's far less than it's been. Now, if you saw the picture of the front of this house, it has enough room for probably 10 cars to be parked on the grounds.
So off-street parking.
Off-street parking. No one parks on the street that's associated with this property. Absolutely no one does.
Well, if that's the case, why would you access off of 7th Avenue North and not just have one entrance and exit off of the alley? And just keep the cars off of 7th Avenue North?
Just for their, convenience.
More convenience than anything? Okay.
Yeah. And of course, that would also, any kind of traffic concerns, that also splits the load, Mr. Wood's property is on the other side of mine.
you know? So actually, none of this traffic goes past his house, period.
Because his is up just a little bit more north.
Further, it's a little further up, so none of this traffic will ever impact him in any kind. Now, he has people probably parking in front of his house, but it has nothing to do with this property.
Okay.
And that, I'm not saying that he doesn't have people, because he mentioned to me about somebody parking in front of his mailbox.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been anybody associated with this property.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
I want to know what that white rectangle is in that one photo. If you could put that picture back up there.
There's
nothing there.
She's talking about this white triangle right there.
I have no idea. Maybe it was that. That must be a very old photo.
Maybe
Somebody had a barn.
Madam Chair, this is Steve. If you look on page 15 where that photograph is, and if you look at the last sentence in the paragraph right above it, it says partially parked the site indicated by the gray block. So the block is just filled in gray as an alternative site. There's nothing there. They just filled it in.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we have any other questions for the applicant? Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Visner. Anybody have any other questions for staff or anything before we close public hearing?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we close public hearing. This is Jeff.
Second, Steve.
Okay, moved and seconded by Jeff and Steve. All those in favor? Steve?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. What do you guys want to do?
Jeff is thinking about it.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion. I think this is good use of this land here. And I get where the parking is a concern. Being that it's going to be off-route, I think that resolve the issue or the concern. So I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for a duplex or a 2-unit townhome in RS 16 district at 7th Avenue North. Jerry or May Visner with all conditions of step.
That's Steve.
Okay, and who seconded?
Steve.
Steve, okay. Motion by Jeff, second by Steve. All those in favor, Steve?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Ron?
No.
No, okay. All right, that does carry, so it will be approved. Okay, we're going on to public hearing item number 4. Conditional use permit for in-home daycare for Jessica Erickson. Do we have Jessica?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Jessica, tell us, give us your name and address for the record and tell us what you want to do.
Okay, my name is Jessica Erickson, and I reside at 1919 South State Street in Nampa. And I am petitioning to open a small in-home daycare.
Okay, do you operate a daycare there now?
I have a couple children that I watch as of right now, but I don't operate in a full-fledged daycare.
Okay, so this is starting the licensing and all the good stuff to be able to do this with more kids.
Yes, I would like to obtain my license so that I can have up to 6 kids at one time in my home as part of the daycare.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant before we go on to the staff? Okay. All right, Jessica, we'll come back to you if we have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Doug, you're on again.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So this address, 1919 South State Street, is in a comp plan as medium density residential. It's in an RS6 single family residential zoning district, and is surrounded by RS6 properties. The parcel is approximately 8,276 square feet. There are public utilities on site, and public services are all available to the property.
Are you sharing your screen, Doug? Because we don't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Just
Let me
in
try
case.
this again. Let's try this again then. Let me escape out of this. And okay, so Rodney, I can't seem to get that share. There it goes.
Yeah, I just control for a second. I'm gonna get rid of it. There you go.
Okay, we're back on here now. Okay, good deal. Sorry about that. So we'll move down through this again. So the site's about 8,276 square feet. As I mentioned, public utilities and public services are all available to the property, and the lot is within a residential neighborhood. The property is not located in a floodplain. And it was mentioned in the staff report as a typo, there is no duplex proposed. So please scratch that on the staff report. Okay. Paved parking for at least 2 vehicles is provided on the site, and there's no additional parking that would be required for this conditional use permit. The property has a driveway access to State Street. And the proposed use is a home occupation daycare for up to 12 children. I just wanted to read you what the code says about this, so you can understand what the parameters are. So in section 10.1.2 under home occupation, it states that a daycare home occupations are restricted to a maximum of 12 children. Family members of the owner operator under the age of 6 shall be included, excepting, however, daycare home occupations in an RS single family residential zone providing care for 7 or more children may only be allowed by conditional use permit. Here are photographs of the site. This is a view looking at 1919 South State, looking to the southwest, and then another view looking at the property adjacent to 501 South Valley Drive, looking southward. The applicable regulations are found in Chapter 1, and I just read a small section out of Chapter 1. To you. Chapter 3 gives a schedule, district and zone land use controls requiring a conditional use permit. For this comes out of Chapter 1. Chapter 3 deals more with larger daycare home operations, but it is mentioned there, so I put this in the staff report. And then in Title 1, Chapter 25, then the criteria for approval for a conditional use permit. To date, of the date of the staff report, the correspondence that we received, there were no objections or comments from the various agencies, and this did pass fire inspection from the Nampa Fire Department. We did get some public comments from Larry Birnbaum and Matt Johnson opposing the project due to concerns about the impact of daycare to the tenants of a rental unit on the adjacent property at 501 South Valley Drive, and that's page 11 and 12 in your staff report. We also received a letter from Bill Lohman, who's a current resident, and Irene Anderson, a former 20-year resident, expressing opposition due to concerns about the impact that the current traffic pattern could have on children in that location, as well as impacts proposed by several rentals in the neighborhood, and then use of the property. And that PDF was sent to email to the commissioners on 6/4 on later last week. The staff analysis and findings from a land use standpoint, the location is in an RS6 zoning district and permitted by Napa City Code with the issuance of an approved conditional use permit. And with regards to that permit, the home occupation daycare location in this location should be permitted with stated conditions of approval, which are in your staff report. And with that, here's a copy of the motion, and I'd be glad to take any questions. Thank you.
Good. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, this is Jeff. Just a quick question. The applicant mentioned up to 6 children in the home, and I thought I heard you say that CUP is only required for 7 more children.
Yes, Madam Chair and Commissioner Kirkman, that is correct. There is no conditional use permit required for a daycare of 6 or less children. That is correct. The application that was given to us did not stated that it was, let's see, I'd have to take a look at the application, but I believe it stated up to 12 children. And then when I spoke to the applicant had mentioned 8 children. So the 6 mentioned this evening is new information.
Well, we can ask the applicant for clarification. That just would need to have a new.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. Could you repeat it?
We can ask the applicant for some clarification on this.
Oh, okay.
This is Steve, I have a question also.
Yeah.
Concerning the same thing, if we approve this for up to 12,
And she said they're only going to have 6, and then she next week comes back with 5 more kids. She can have them because we've already approved 12.
Right, this may be just to cover the base.
Well, but maybe she doesn't want us to scare us off, so she's saying 6, and she's really going to have 12.
We'll ask the applicant.
Well,
Yeah,
we can ask her.
Yep.
That's all I have. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for staff?
Madam Chair, this is Rodney. I just want to put in a real quick comment that they also need to add any of their own children. So I don't know if that number 6 was in addition to the 2 she has or something. Maybe that's something to consider.
Okay, thank you. All right, I have 2 people. They aren't for or opposed or undecided on my sheet. They're just signed up. I have Elizabeth Moot. Do we have Elizabeth?
And I believe I needed to mute her. There was an echo from her phone. So I believe if that's number 965-4551.
No, hers says it ends in 2166, but.
So they'll just need to hit *6 to unmute their phone if that's their number. I think they assign a new number when
okay. So Elizabeth, if you're here, do *6 and unmute yourself, and then you can tell us what you think.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you just barely.
Okay, let me get off the speaker. Hi, my name is Elizabeth Moot, and I live at 412 Fall Drive in the same subdivision as the proposed daycare. And I am actually against having the daycare there. We have had several people in the subdivision and in the neighborhood that have wanted to have daycares, and they've all been denied. let's see, the address I had, the last one that came to the city was at 439 Summer Court, which is actually kind of kitty corner to that house. And that house is bigger than her house is. And she wanted to do the same type of thing. She had kids that she already took care of. And she wanted to do a business there and have up to 12 kids. And it was denied due to it not being a good thing for the neighborhood. And I totally agree with the other individuals who have said that they're concerned about traffic and those kinds of issues with kids running around and people parking at different times of day, dropping their children off and picking them up. She does have a little bit larger backyard, but still, you can't have those kids out there in the wintertime. And if she's got 8 kids that are in the house, that's a lot of kids in a 1,400 square foot house. So I'm very concerned about that. I would also like to know how many children she does have herself, which I don't know.
Okay. We will ask the applicant to address those when we get done with public hearing.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Okay. The next person I have to sign up to speak is Robert Cook. If you're on, Robert, hit *6 to unmute yourself.
I believe Robert is on the on a video, or at least on a computer. I needed to mute him as well. There was a lot of background noise, so he'll just need to go to the microphone that says mute and unmute himself on the screen.
Okay.
This is Rodney Ashby. Robert, if you can hear me, you need to unmute yourself by kind of hovering over the screen. You'll see a little microphone. Just click on that, and it should have a slash through it. When it's unmuted, it'll not have that slash anymore through it.
So this is Elizabeth Moot. Again, I'm sorry. I'm on my computer watching it, and I'm on the phone, so I don't know if you think that I'm both those people.
No, he just unmuted himself. Thank you.
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Robert, we hear you. Give us your full name and address for the record, please.
For the record, the name is Robert Crook, 546 Winter Court.
Okay, and tell us what you think.
It's the same subdivision. I'm concerned with the same thing everybody else is in the neighborhood, the traffic volume with the added cars. This is kind of off a little bit, but when they shut down Greenhurst for the repaving and work back there with all the whatever trench work they did, it brought to the attention a lot of people on the western neighborhoods that Valley and Maryland are a pass-through into 12th and into that Walmart. And I'm not only concerned about the kids being there, because we've already had one car crash through our fence into the backyard due to reckless speeds. But I'm concerned because we've already got a lot of traffic going up and down Valley, which is the side fence to that property, and a lot of speeding. They've put up signs. They've had police out here frequently at the little T dead ends trying to reduce the amount of speeding, but there's only one speed limit sign at each end of this long street. There's nothing else controlling speed. And my wife and I walk our dogs twice a day, every day, up and down all of the streets around this neighborhood, and we see how fast cars go by, bikes go by, trucks go by. So it's a concern, as well as the added volume of traffic with having up to 12 kids in one place.
Okay. We will ask the applicant how many cars she thinks is going to be coming through, and see what we can find out for you.
Okay.
Rodney, there's nobody else signed up on my PDF, so I'm assuming that's all the speakers for public hearing.
That's correct.
Okay, Jessica, we have a few questions for you.
Yes.
Okay, so number of kids. How many kids are you really going to have in your house? Between yours and who you're babysitting.
Okay, I have 3 children of my own. Yes,
Okay.
and 2 of them will be attending school starting this fall.
Okay.
I only plan to take care of 6 children total, but because of the rules of no more than 6, if my children have a day off of school or I have kids there after my kids are already home from school, I need to make sure that I have the license so that I can have both sets of kids in my home if the paths cross on timing. So I only plan on having 6 kids above my own, and I have 3 of my own, but like I said, 2 of them will be going to school.
So do you already have the 6 kids figured out?
I have 3 of the 6 kids figured out, and I currently take care of them, and they're all from the same family. So that's 1 vehicle that comes in the morning to drop the children off and then to pick them up when their care is done.
Okay.
So I only plan on having 3 more children. At this time, I have applicants waiting to see if I get licensed, but it would be families with multiple children. So each of the families have 2 children, so I'd really only be looking at having 3 families total at max capacity. Most of them that are trying to get in right now are part-time, so they wouldn't be everyday traffic that would be coming and going to my home.
Okay, so you'd have 3 vehicles, different days of the week, different times a day, but that's the max.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Did anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
If it's okay, I would also like to address the whole traffic going to and from and the safety of the kids. Sure. with the daycare. First off, outside play in the front is not allowed. I will not let them play out where they are not fenced in the back, just due to safety reasons of the sidewalk and traffic on that corner. I do realize, having 3 kids of my own, that it is a busy corner. So for safety of all the kids, including mine, that will not be allowed. I have the backyard fence in, which was mentioned, and that fence that lines the road in my backyard is a very large garden that lines my entire fence line. So the kids will not be playing up against the road or up against the fencing at all on any side that has a road, because the playground set and everything else is far away from that. It's on, if you look at the pictures that's on there, the big tree in my backyard, all the play stuff and everything is on the other side, and my garden lines that whole fence where the road currently is. So as far as safety concerns, the kids won't ever be playing along that fence line.
Okay. All right. No other questions from anybody? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved, this Steve.
I'll second this, Jeff.
Okay, moved by Steve, seconded by Jeff. All those in favor, Steve?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. What do you guys think?
Here. This is Steve. I'd like to make a motion.
Deny the conditional use permit for the in-home occupation daycare up to 12 children for Jessica Erickson at 1919 South State Street due to the concerns of the neighborhood for traffic and safety of the children, and any other concerns that were mentioned.
Is there a second? I hear no second, correct? So that motion dies without a second. Do we have somebody else who would like to make a motion?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for an in-home occupation daycare for up to 12 children in our 6 single-family residential area for Jessica Erickson with all conditions of staff.
Do we have a second for Jeff?
I second it.
I'll second it.
Michelle Labicha. Okay.
Yep.
Motion by Jeff, second by Michelle. All those in favor of approving the conditional use permit? Steve? I can't hear Steve.
No.
Michelle?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yes.
Brett?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
And Ron?
Aye.
Okay, that carries. All right. And that is the last item of public hearings that we have tonight. So we are adjourned until the next one, which may be all of us in person. We'll just have to wait and see.
And I might have to just wear my green leisure suit for the special occasion.